गणेशाय नमस्तुभ्यं हेरम्बाय एकदन्तिने स्वानन्दवासिने तुभ्यं ब्रह्मणस्पतये नमः. With humble pranams to all Paramacharyas, Acharyas and Gurus, let us continue our study of Jnyanasara from where we left off last session. In the last session we saw the conversation between Narada and Surya, where Narada asked a number of questions regarding the worship of Gajanana, Siddhi, Buddhi, the Swananda Loka, how puja is performed in Swananda Loka, and so many other things. So this conversation between Surya and Narada was the replies were given by Surya to Narada were according to what he heard from Lalitamba, who had heard from Shiva as he had narrated to Skanda, Munis, Rishis, and everybody who was sitting there in Kailash. And Brahmadeva is narrating this to the Munishwaras. He says, having spoken thus, Dinesha, Narada, and other Munishwaras returned to their respective places. After this conversation was over, they returned to their respective places. Blessing them specifically, Ganesha proceeded to his own abode. Now, Narada, having heard everything fully with Siddhi, Buddhi in his heart, he became fully enlightened with all the knowledge. He returned to Siddhashram, meditated and contemplated on the knowledge, heard from the saints, and engaged himself in a systematic study of the state of Chakru constantly. This led to the attainment of Nirvikalpa Samadhi, and being in the glory of that state, finally he was able to experience Advaita through yoga. Finally, he attained Yoga Shanti and got the experience of the state of Brahma. The worship of Ganesha brings one to experience the presence of Siddhi Buddhi, and thereby you get the knowledge of the yoga through listening, reading, and study. No doubt this knowledge of Ganesha is extremely rare. Whoever wants to take up the study should have the necessary devotion and then receive the blessings of Brahmanaspati. Now, Lalitamba, she says, the first section of the part on the essence of knowledge, that is Jnyanasara, reminds us of one thing, and that is the knowledge of Ganesha covers three hearts. That is, hearing from the mouth of Uddalaka, which Lalitamba had heard. She says that it is possible that a Mayura Kshetra makes it possible to experience this essence of knowledge. So Shiva is concluding this Jnyanasara by saying, in this way, Skanda, O great one, the Lord speaking through the mouth of Hayagriva was a bestower of Ganapatya Jnan, that is the knowledge of Ganesha. Hearing the essence of knowledge from Shakti near Kanchi Kshetra, he was filled with joy. Pakratunda was established as Kshetra Raja at Kanchipuram, close to the seashores of Ganapata, seashores of Chennai. Just behind the Lord are his Shakti, Siddhi, Buddhi. Puja is performed to Gananatha as well as Mahasiddhi and Mahabuddhi. So eventually one becomes an expert in the knowledge of yoga, and the knowledge of divine gets draws one to become more and more devoted to Ganesha. Thus, it is possible to follow the path of Jnana Yoga and attain liberation while still alive and in the human body. So these are the condensed form of about 3,000 books which was written, which was sort of, you can say, consolidated by Ganaka Rishi, and that is, and he was the one who brought it on earth so that the human beings on earth can carry on the Ganapatya Parampara. So, reading this essence of knowledge and then understanding the meaning directly, if possible from a guru, then it will definitely be of bring fruitful results. So Shiva concludes by saying, contemplate on what I have told you, and you shall become an expert in this knowledge. So in this way, the first part of Vinayaka Rasyam, the Jnyanasara, the essence of knowledge, concludes. And although we conclude the Jnyanasara, we continue today's session by taking up the second part of the Vinayaka Rasya, which is called the essence of yoga or Yogasara. Bhrigu and other munis have this to say about this particular part. Experiencing oneself through yoga makes one a complete expert in yoga. Of course, there may be different opinions about yoga, but this essence of yoga, Yogasara, enlightens on its philosophy. So, in this Yogasara, it contains 16 sections, of which the first 5 chapters describe the teaching of Sri Ganesha to Sri Krishna. So, the essence of yoga contains, yoga itself has several aspects to it. The Yogasara Gita, which was narrated previously to Uddalaka, was for endowing him with devotion. So one will get materialistic knowledge from this book, no doubt, but the Yogasara also gives the knowledge of Vedanta in it. So this Yogasara, we'll just look at the broad outline of what we are going to study in this second part. The first chapter consists of where Brahma describes the condition of man over kalpas, means over long periods of time, to Bhrigu Muni and others. The second chapter speaks about Jambudvipa, where one gets a visual display of the Jambudvipa, the people residing there, their language, their habitat, and so on. It also describes the birth and growth of Daityas in the Kruta Yuga. Then in the third chapter, we have the description of Ganaka Rishi, his incarnations, and how he goes about establishing the Vedic rituals, Tantrism, Pashanda Marga, and so on. And he also, Ganaka Rishi was always close to Ganesha. And so, out of his own desire, he incarnated in a human form as an Ansh for establishing this knowledge. And he was considered, earlier Shiva was considered Guru of all Gurus. Later on, Ganaka Rishi got that title of Guru of all Gurus. Then the fourth chapter consists of the Shakta doctrine by Agastya Rishi, who installed the Lalitamba idol at Kanchipuram. Kanchipuram Kshetra, actually, it's a Kshetra of all the Ishwaras, namely Shiva, Vishnu, Shakti, and Surya. So, Narayana there is a story to it on how this Kanchipuram Kshetra came into being. Narayana was worshipped earlier according to the teachings by Aryavata students. In the end, there is a description of Dattatreya. Then in the fifth chapter, it takes us to Kedarnath, where the devotees of Ganapa were this entire series of chapters discusses on how Ganaka Rishi went about traveling after finishing his work of writing and classifying all the Veda Shastras. He went about discussing, traveled on foot on various parts of various areas, and discussed with the people on various matters on the faith or the worship done by those people, and clarified their doubts. So in the fifth chapter, we see Ganaka Rishi going to the Kim Purushas, where who were worshipped in those days at Hemakut, who were able to attain Ganeshwara, and they resided on the banks of Manas Lake. They destroyed the Trimurti doctrine. They went to a more attainable place for inhabitation. That is, Brahma had gone there and instructed the Vedas to the Brahmins living there earlier. Then in the sixth chapter, we see Ganaka Rishi going and talking to human yakshas residing there. There's a description of some people who are born on earth as human yakshas. These are celestial beings. When in those days there was a close communion between the heavens and the other worlds and the earth, and they used to come and visit, and there used to be intermarriage between the different with the human beings, and thus we had species such as human yakshas, kimpurishas, pulahas, varni, pashupatas, shankararyas, who were said to have been instructed. In the end, the area where Kimpurishas lived was split into two by the rulers, and some of them got married and had intercourse with the people there. There's a description of winning over the Harivarsha. Then in the seventh chapter, we have the breaking up of the Tantric Vaishnavism in Harivarsha and the teachings to Martya, Guhyak, Mangal Rupati, Atreya, Siddha Aryabhrua, Shankararya, Mishramargis, Rishi Nrupati, the early animal man. So there was an interaction between Ganaka Rishi and all these people. In the end, there is a description of attaining Bhadrashrava. The eighth chapter discusses Ganaka Rishi's travel to Bhadrashrava region, where people were filled with lust, namely Kinnar Brua. So animal man, Shankararya, Arya, Kameshwar, Narapati, Bhargava, ordinary seekers of Hiranyavarsha, Nara and Angiras were the people with whom he interacted there. He also spoke about the attainment of Ramanaka, teachings to Nagas, Rutushishya, Amara, Shankararya, Aryabhrua. Then he went to Ketumala region from there and gave instructions to the people there. Then he went to Ailavrita, where he had conversations with Indra and others. Then in the ninth chapter, he talks about there's a description of the geography or the Bharata subcontinent, which is described as having exceedingly beautiful waters. It has a shape of an ashwatha leaf, that is the fig tree. The southern direction, there is a large ocean. To the east, there is Mahasagar. On our west, there is Shubhra On the northern side is a long range of Himalayas. The land to the south of Krishna river is the southern Bharat, where Vindhya mountain range ends, that's the central part of the country. To the west of Sindhu was formerly called land of Heravat. On the eastern side and central of the country consists of three parts. So, Bharatavarsha was made up of 7 continents that Sri Ganaka Rishi tried to establish, where Ganaka Rishi tried to establish the complete knowledge of Vedic doctrines from Bharat. He says that from the entire region of Bharatavarsha up to Jambudvip, Lanka recorded acceptance of Vedas by the Vedikas. He also firmly established the 6 branches or the 6 doctrines. Then he went to Somnath to spread the knowledge of Guneshwara. Then with the consent of the king, he got the princes to install Ganeshwar and his Parashakti, that is Siddhi and Buddhi, and Matruka idols. The Bhumi Swanandanagar was filled with students who went in Swanandanagar in Maharashtra, where the students who learned from Ganaka Rishi went across different parts and spread this knowledge of Swananda along with Siddhi Buddhi. Thereafter, Sadguru Ganaka Rishi left to his cave after students had returned to his, that is, they come back to Swanandanagar. The Guru went to his own cave, and students also returned to their respective places. After this yatra across various regions of the world for spreading the knowledge of Ganesha. In the end, there is a description of the Vijaya Yatra of Ganakarishi. Here we shall conclude this session. We shall take over the remaining chapters, remaining contents of the Yogasara, that is the part 2 of Vinayaka Rasyam, in the next session. Jai Gajanan.